The ocean road was always a comfort to me. Its winding curves, the shimmering blue water running beside me like an old friend. My grandmother used to say the sea remembers those who love it. And I believed her. It certainly remembered her. And it remembered me. Her beach house sitting on a quiet stretch of sand was the one place that ever truly felt like home. When she passed and left the house to me, my family reacted with thinly veiled resentment. My aunt insisted she deserved it because she was the oldest. My uncle argued that keeping a second home was wasteful. My cousins joked, though not really, that I should share the wealth. I always brushed it off, thinking they would eventually accept that the house was mine. I should have known better. I was supposed to come home late Sunday night after a week-long conference. A cancelled flight brought me back a full day early. As I drove the familiar cliffside road, I imagined arriving to an empty, peaceful home, making tea on the porch, and watching the sunset. I even smiled to myself, grateful for the unexpected extra day of quiet. That moment of calm shattered the second I turned into the driveway. A large moving truck sat parked crookedly on the gravel, hazard lights blinking. My aunt's silver SUV was right behind it, and my cousin Jake's motorcycle leaned on its kickstand, taking up the walkway like it owned the place. Confused, I slowed to a stop. My first thought was that something terrible had happened, maybe an emergency, maybe the house had been broken into. Then I saw the front door, wide open, boxes stacked inside. My stomach dropped. I jumped out of my car and ran toward the porch. "Hello, what's going on?" I called out, half expecting an intruder to appear. Instead, my cousin Jake walked out of the kitchen holding a bag of chips like it was just another lazy afternoon. He blinked at me, surprised but not guilty. "Oh, hey, Ava, you're early. Early for what?" My voice trembled with disbelief. "Why is there a moving truck in my driveway?" He shrugged. "We're moving in." The words hit with the force of a crashing wave. "We?" I echoed, breathless. Before he could answer, my aunt appeared at the top of the staircase, wiping sweat from her forehead. "We decided it's time this house actually got used," she said matter-of-factly. "You barely come here, and the rest of us could benefit from it. The rest of us." As if I wasn't standing right there, my chest tightened painfully. "This is my house. You can't just decide to move in." My aunt snorted. "Oh, come on, Ava, don't be dramatic. It's not like you need the place. You live in the city now. This house is wasted on you. Wasted." The word echoed through me, sharp and cold. My grandmother hadn't left this house to be used by people who never appreciated her or this place. She left it to me because she trusted me to protect it. "I didn't give you permission." I managed, voice cracking. Jake sighed, clearly annoyed. "We're family. You don't need to give permission. Stop being selfish." Selfish. Dramatic. Ungrateful. All the old labels they used whenever they wanted something from me came crawling out again. Inside, their boxes were neatly stacked, clothes already hung on the hallway hook, like they had been planning this for a long time. Like it wasn't a violation, like I had no say in any of it. Something inside me broke, or maybe it snapped into place. "I want you out," I said quietly. They laughed. That was the moment I realized just how far they were willing to go, and just how far I would have to go to protect what was mine. I drove away from the house with my hands stiff around the steering wheel, knuckles white, pulse hammering. The road blurred through the shimmer of tears I refused to let fall. Every breath felt tight, like the air itself was pressing down on me. I kept replaying the scene over and over. My aunt's dismissive tone, Jake's casual entitlement, their belongings stuffed into the rooms my grandmother once tended with such gentle care. They hadn't just crossed a boundary, they'd obliterated it. By the time I reached my apartment, evening shadows were stretching across the parking lot, long and crooked, like fingers reaching for me. I sat in the car for several minutes, staring at nothing, numb. A sick wave of guilt, bold and familiar, rose inside me. That inner voice they had cultivated through years of manipulation whispered, "Maybe you are being selfish. Maybe you should have let them stay. Maybe family comes first." But another voice answered, stronger, steadier, and sounding almost like my grandmother, "Protect what is yours." I closed my eyes and took a long breath. My family had taken advantage of me all my life, small things. Big things always packaged as obligations or guilt or family duty. And every time I let them, but the beach house that was my grandmother's love made physical. That was not something I could allow them to twist into another weapon against me. So I didn't cry. I didn't call to negotiate. I took action. The next morning, I arrived at the beach house just as the sun was breaking through the clouds, painting the sand in soft gold. The moving truck was gone, but the front door was still open a crack, as if the house itself had been holding its breath all night. A locksmith arrived 15 minutes later, a quiet older man with a kind face who didn't ask unnecessary questions. "Break in," he asked gently. "Something like that," I murmured. He changed the locks on every door, front, back, sliding porch door. I asked him to add deadbolts, reinforced plates, anything that would make me feel safe again. Then I took it further, having him change the locks on the windows too, even though he raised an eyebrow. "I just need to be sure," I said. He nodded with understanding. After he left, I walked through every room slowly, my chest aching. My aunt's box of throw pillows on the couch, Jake's hoodie draped over a chair, my uncle's toolbox open on the dining table. They'd invaded these rooms like they belonged here. The violation burned through me. I packed their items neatly and placed them outside on the porch. The gesture wasn't petty, it was purposeful, a statement, a line. Then I installed cameras front porch, backyard, hallway, inside. As I connected the system, I reviewed footage from the previous day. That's when I saw it, Jake pulling a key from his pocket and unlocking the front door. A key that looked disturbingly familiar. Had they copied my key? When? How long had this been planned? The realization hit me like ice water down my spine. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't a misunderstanding. They had intended to take my house, and they thought I'd just accept it. By afternoon, their cars pulled back into the driveway. I was standing on the porch when they realized the locks were changed. My aunt rattled the door handle violently, then whirled on me with fury burning in her eyes. "What is the meaning of this?" she snapped. I stood firm. "You need to leave. This is my home, and you entered without permission." Jake scoffed. "We're not doing this, Ava. Open the door." No. Their disbelief was almost comical. They weren't used to hearing that word from me. My aunt stepped closer, invading my space. "You're making a huge mistake," she hissed. "Family doesn't treat each other like this." "No," I said softly. "You don't treat family like you treated me." Their faces twisted with anger, confusion, and something else, panic. Real panic, because for the first time, I wasn't bending. For the first time, I was drawing a line they could not cross. And they hated it. My aunt's voice rose higher and sharper with every passing second, echoing off the porch rails like some frantic warning bell. Jake paced behind her, jaw clenched, arms crossed in defiant irritation. My uncle leaned against the railing, shaking his head as if I was the unreasonable one. "It would have been almost funny if it didn't hurt so much. You can't just lock us out," my aunt shouted, hands planted firmly on her hips. "We have rights, actually," I replied, keeping my tone steady. "You don't. This is my property. You have no permission to be here." Jake scoffed loudly. "We've been using this house for years during holidays. Grandma always said the house belonged to the whole family. You just got lucky because you were her favorite. Like it was an insult, like love was something shameful. My grandmother never promised the house to anyone but me, and deep down, they all knew it. But entitlement is a disease. It warps reality until everything looks unfair to the person who believes they deserve more. "We're done arguing," my uncle said suddenly. Then he marched to the side of the house. I felt my heart drop. He grabbed a garden stone, one of the decorative ones with a carved seashell, and moved toward the window. Before I could react, he wedged it under the frame and shoved upward, applying pressure like he had done this before. The old wood groaned under the strain. "Stop." I stepped forward instinctively. "You can't break into my house." "Our house," he corrected, giving the frame another violent jerk. A cracking sound followed, a splinter of wood snapping off and falling to the sand-covered porch. Something inside me turned cold and resolute. I pulled out my phone. "You really want to do this, Ava?" my aunt snapped. "Call the police on your own family, really." But the threat didn't land this time. My fear had burned off, leaving nothing but clarity. "Yes," I said simply, "I do." I dialed. As the line rang, my aunt's expression shifted from shock to rage to something almost like betrayal, though she was the one breaking my window. Jake muttered curses under his breath. My uncle dropped the stone and backed away, hands raised like he hadn't just committed property damage. Within minutes, a patrol car pulled into the driveway. The sight of it sent a ripple of silence through my relatives. The officer who stepped out was calm and professional, but his sharp eyes took in everything: the damaged window, the pile of their belongings on the porch, the tension crackling in the air. "What seems to be the issue here?" he asked. "My family is attempting to break into my home," I said, voice steady. My aunt jumped in immediately. "That's not true. We're moving in. It's a family house." "Ma'am, do you own the property?" the officer asked. Her mouth opened, closed, then tightened into a thin line. She said nothing. I handed the officer the deed, my name clearly printed on it. My ID, camera footage on my phone showing my uncle trying to pry open the window, and a text my aunt sent earlier in the week. "We'll be settling into the house soon." "Don't make this difficult." The officer's expression hardened. "You three need to leave the property immediately." My aunt let out a disbelieving laugh. "You can't be serious." "I am," the officer said firmly. "This is not your home. You have no right to be here, and you certainly have no right to force entry." Jake muttered something hateful under his breath, but even he stepped backward. My uncle looked anywhere but at me. My aunt, however, refused to go quietly. "You're destroying the family, Ava," she spat, "over a house. It's not just a house," I said. "It's my home, and you tried to take it from me." The officer waited at their backs until they loaded their belongings and drove away. As their vehicles disappeared down the road, a hollow ache settled in my chest, painful, but freeing, like tearing out a thorn that had been buried too deep. The porch fell into a heavy silence. For the first time, I felt the house breathe again. The ocean hummed gently in the distance, the waves rolling in steady, rhythmic reassurance. I wasn't alone, I wasn't powerless, and I wasn't afraid, not anymore. I took one last look at the damaged window, then turned toward the door. I had protected what was mine, and in doing so, I had reclaimed a part of myself they had stolen long before they ever tried to steal the house. The house felt strangely still after the confrontation, like it was finally exhaling after being held hostage. The broken window frame, the scattered sand on the porch, even the faint smell of my cousin's cologne lingering in the hallway. All of it reminded me of the boundary violation that had happened. But beneath the lingering tension, there was something steadier, almost comforting. The knowledge that I had defended myself. I spent the next morning sweeping the porch, fixing what I could, and letting warm sunlight wash over the house. A local repairman replaced the window frame, offering a sympathetic smile when I explained the situation. "Family can be rougher than strangers," he said quietly. I understood that now more than ever, but as the physical damage faded, a new storm began brewing, this one digital. When I checked my phone later that afternoon, I found the first wave of passive-aggressive messages. My aunt had wasted no time spinning her narrative. Posts on social media, group texts with extended relatives, comments dripping with martyrdom. It breaks my heart that Ava cares more about bricks and wood than the people who raised her. Some people forget what family means when money is involved. Pray for our family during this difficult time. The audacity would have been laughable if it didn't sting so deeply. Almost instantly, cousins I hadn't spoken to in months chimed in with confused question marks, half-formed judgments, and uncomfortable silence. Some reached out to me privately, asking what happened. Others simply unfollowed me, not wanting to be caught in the middle. I didn't blame them, but something unexpected happened too. My grandmother's sister, quiet, observant, always level-headed, called me. "Sweetheart, I heard some rumors," she said, "but I know your aunt and I know you. Tell me the truth." So I told her. Everything, the broken window, the copied key, the entitlement, the police report. She didn't interrupt once. When I finished, she let out a slow breath. "Your grandmother left that house to you because she trusted you to protect it, not because she wanted the rest of them to fight over it." Her support spread gently through the family, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. One relative called. Then another. Some apologized for jumping to conclusions. Others admitted they had seen this coming for years. Everyone knew my aunt's tendency to twist stories, but until now, no one had tried to stop her. My aunt's online smear campaign fizzled out. No dramatic victory on my part. No public confrontation, just a quiet collapse. People simply stopped engaging. They grew skeptical. They pulled back from her, little by little. That was my revenge. Not loud, not cruel, but steady. She exposed herself, and I simply let her. Meanwhile, I poured my energy into restoring the house. I repainted the porch railing in a shade of soft sea mist green. I replaced the curtains with ones that reminded me of my grandmother's favorite dress. I planted fresh lavender by the walkway, just like she had done every spring. As the days turned into weeks, the house transformed not into something new, but back into something true. The scent of salt and lavender mixed in the breeze, sunlight pooled through the windows, the quiet felt warm, not lonely. One evening, I sat on the porch with a cup of tea, watching the waves roll in. The horizon glowed with fading gold, and gulls cried softly overhead. For the first time since my family tried to take the house, I felt safe, whole. I realized then that my revenge wasn't the police removing them. It wasn't the relatives taking my side. It wasn't even locking them out. My real revenge was reclaiming my peace. My home, my boundaries, my voice. They lost access to the house, yes, but they also lost access to the part of me they used to control so easily. The part that bent and folded and apologized for existing. I sipped my tea, the breeze tugging gently at my hair, and whispered into the quiet, "Thank you, Grandma." The sea shimmered back at me, as if it remembered.